What's up, you hip cool cats? My name is Kit. Welcome to Chicago Reacts. We're so glad to have all of you here. And today, for this solo review react, we are going to be reacting to Dan Sickles' Human Meme by Potential History. Well, this potentially looks like to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what the human meme is all about. Let's face it, all of humanity might as well be one big meme joke. But before you start laughing away, and before you see anything else, did you all know that we have a Twitch channel called Chicago Plays, Chicago_Plays? I'm playing video games. I go on every 1 p.m. Central Standard Time every Saturday. Kira is on every Friday at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Michael and Zach, hey, the actors, every Mondays at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. And a wonderful, outstanding Kelsey every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. So, if you haven't checked it out, go to the link in the description box below, and you can join us when we go live at Chicago Plays on Twitch. We have a lot of fun. Check us out. But however, hey DJ, hit that play button for Dan Sickles' Human Meme by Potential History. Let's play it in its full entirety.
I know you can do. We're gonna
Deploy our troops.
Oh.
easy. Now you try. Lift your
Core.
Great.
Oh, no.
We're almost there. Now put it
In the line.
No, the
Line.
No.
the
Line.
the
Line.
No.
Line.
the
Line.
the line the line
No.
the line the line the line.
No, 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 no.
Almost there.
Almost
Now
there.
Head for the
Line.
cold.
Come on.
Warmer.
Warm.
Warmer.
Warm.
Warmer. You're hot. You're on fire.
A direct cannonball hit severs his leg.
Real quick before this video starts, it is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, last step in becoming a real YouTuber. Raid has taken over the App Store with hordes of downloads and positive reviews for everything from its
You know, I gotta say this. Whenever we get reached out to by Raid, I'm gonna do an over-the-top commercial for them that literally we might have to film outside just so it's not a noise complaint inside the building. I'm just telling you, if. Okay? Because I'm gonna be like, Raid! But imagine louder. But anyways.
standout graphics above similar games, and well-written story that isn't just Wheel of Fortune fantasy tropes. Raid contains many game modes, including PvP for Zoomers, Campaign for Doomers, clan boss battles to play casually with friends, and arena battles to test those friendships in, with constant updates and over 10 million players online, in case you just don't have any friends. Play both on mobile or desktop, with hundreds of customizable champions to pick from, like my go-to thick boy here, or when I'm feeling more graceful, this lady who has very large weapons.
Yeah, she's got large weapons and nice thighs. But anyways.
Click the link in the description, and if you're a new player, you'll get 100,000 silver, 1 energy refill, 1 day XP booster, and 1 free champion. You'll find those rewards right here whenever you want to pick them up, and they will be available for 30 days. Hey you play Raid yet? Why are you yeeting your troops into enemy fire, having to put up with real-world consequences, when you can yeet your Raid characters into a digital enemy and actually win?
Hello all, and welcome to a new series titled Human Memes. Although I really hope I come up with a better title before this thing actually goes live, but right now that's all I got. This series will be exploring some very interesting historical figures. Not just people that are funny, although there will be those people. Also people who are interesting, have various quirks, are funny. And today, we're going to be talking about the life, actually not just the life, like a few events because there's so much shit, of a man who made himself famous during the American Civil War. You hear that noise? That's the sound of all the European viewers clicking off because they heard American Civil War and they don't care. And the first one we'll be talking about today is Daniel.
Because we've only had one Civil War, and they've had like, what? I don't know. Each one of them's got so many on their belt. Be like, first Civil War? Come back to us when you have your 5th one, okay? We love our European audience. You guys are in our heart.
Sickles, who is either the luckiest moron to ever exist, or someone just playing 5D chess, just stuff that we can't even comprehend.
Very, very large a brain.
Dan Sickles was born in 1819, although it's oftentimes said he was born in 1825. He was not born in 1825, although it's thought that he lied about his birthday quite often for reasons we'll get into in a second. He's a very well-connected person, learning the printer's trade and studying law at NYU. Admitted to the bar in 1846. But we're not here for the basic fact stuff. We're here for the weird stuff. And the weird stuff started very early in Dan Sickles' life. Dan Sickles was a very eccentric person, and throughout this story, when you're wondering if it gets weirder, it definitely does.
So, for the record, I think when it comes down to the American Civil War, we're all familiar with, of course, some of the Confederate generals like Lee, for example. Of course, you got Jeb Stuart, Stonewall Jackson, and then of course on the Federals, you got Sherman, Grant. But I've never heard of this Dan Sickles person, and to be very clear on this one, I'm really excited to see who this person is and what they've contributed to this key point in American history. But why is it I'm going to be a little sick into my stomach knowing that he might have potentially cost the lives of some of his troops, if that's the case?
We're going to focus on two events, a murder and a Civil War battle. While studying law, he actually moved in with and got very close to one of his professors who had an infant daughter that Dan Sickles knew for her entire life. At 16 years old, when he was in his 30s, he married her, which is probably why he lied about his age. Other escapades in his young life include, while being married, striking up a relationship with a prostitute, and went on a trip to England on
Which, hey, a married man striking up a relationship with a prostitute, but hey, audience, what could ever go wrong? I mean, I'm sure the wife didn't have a problem with that, right? I'm willing to bet she did.
On official business, almost introducing her to the Queen, which would have caused a huge scandal. He was apparently pulled away before being able to do so, but the woman did curtsy at the Queen. It was quite the affair. On the same trip, during a ball celebrating the 4th of July, Dan Sickles wasn't a huge fan of celebrating Independence Day with the British. So as the toast for the night was being made to the Queen, he decided to, instead of observe the toast, sit down in front of a small painting of George Washington and completely refuse to recognize the occasion. He was promptly thrown out of England.
Okay, look. You're in another country. You just can't disrespect the culture, the government, dignitaries there. But, on the other hand, he had that big brain energy and was like, I'm pro-American. This is General George Washington, and I'm going to look at his picture. I'm a very smart guy. I knew him very, very well. Why is it that I think that this guy might have been Trump in another life? I don't know. Maybe so. So, Trump, were you Dan Sickles? Is that true? Come on, Trump. Tell us. Tell us if you are him reincarnated.
Upon returning home, though, he was a national hero because people weren't big fans of the British still. He was elected to New York State Senate and then elected to the U.S. Congress, all while having multiple affairs and having a lot of it get into the newspapers. Now, I'm just kind of...
Okay, multiple affairs, so he's like any other scumbag politician. Okay. Dan Sickles, come on. I expect a little bit more from you.
Rapid firing these scenarios and these stories to you because I want you to get a general idea of who this guy is before we get into the real stories. And the first of the two I want to tell is about how he murdered somebody and got away with it. For all his womanizing
like any politician
and everything to do with that, historians do think that he really did love his wife. His underage wife, be it. He was very protective of her, and he really did care about her. However, being gone so often, his wife Teresa was pretty lonely at home, and she eventually ended up striking up a relationship with Philip Barton Key, the son of Francis Scott Key, the national hero. It's said that every day when Francis wanted to meet with Teresa, he would go outside of the Sickles residence and he would wave a handkerchief. And later on, the couple would meet in a park or somewhere else. That was the way that they communicated. And an anonymous friend of Dan Sickles, and one of the rare times that he was not abroad or out in Washington, sent him a letter informing him of the affair, telling him all the details and everything of all the handkerchief waving. And in one of the following days, what did he see outside his window? But Philip Barton, outside his house, waving a handkerchief. In a storm of rage, Dan Sickles burst out of his house, waving a gun, and began chasing Mr. Key down the street. And I think you know where this is
So in other words, Trump could be Dan Sickles reincarnated. I could shoot someone in the street and not go to jail for it. Maybe Trump is having flashbacks to being Dan Sickles. I don't know. We'll solve this mystery for another time. If we got some paranormal activity experts in the audience, type in the comment section below. Maybe we could solve this mystery. I don't know.
He's going, but when he caught up to him, he shot him dead. He actually didn't shoot him dead. He eventually died of his wounds, but...
Okay. I find this picture interesting because he is getting shot, but you have a guy there. Just watch. Oh boy, I'm tired. I'm gonna lean on this fence. Sees a guy chase another dude with a gun. Like, oh my god, what's going on? Like, he probably didn't have enough time to react. Like, I'm wondering what that guy's story is. Like, he might have been really exhausted from work, or it was just so hot he just couldn't do anything. But he's very casual. Like, this is probably not the first time he's seen someone get shot in the streets in that era. So, kudos to him.
He first shot him in the chest, and then once he was down, he walked up to him and attempted to execute him, but the gun misfired. He couldn't. But it's 1859, so like, you get shot, you're gonna die if the doctor doesn't kill you afterwards. However, this is not where the story gets interesting, because Sickles was obviously arrested and he was going to be tried for his crimes. And knowing that this happened in broad daylight, people saw him, he was going to need a fairly creative defense to get out of it. In a creative defense he found, with his dream team of lawyers, they decided to plead temporary insanity. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of a court case where somebody pleads temporary insanity or being temporarily just not themselves, but this is actually the first instance in recorded history where this was attempted. And because it hadn't been before, it was kind of up in the air if the jury was gonna fall for this. However, Sickles kind of stacked the deck because he pulled in every political favor he possibly could, including having President Buchanan himself come into the courtroom and shake Dan Sickles' hand right in front of the jury, basically showing everyone that the president respects this man, likes this man, is friends with this man, and very much tainting the jury pool very quickly. And due to this combination of events,
holy
his
shit,
temporary insanity plea did get him off the hook.
Now, the thing is, folks, I apologize if I get some things wrong, but the office of presidency was easily influenced by a lot of lawmakers. It still is to this day, but, you know, it was FDR that really cemented of what the power of the executive office could be, the president could be. But can you imagine how big that would be if the president of the United States, the leader of the country, and this is before we became a superpower on the world stage, goes into a courtroom and shakes this guy's hand? I am now wondering, what did Dan Sickles have on the president to make him do that? Because again, you know, the executive office was different back then than it is now. So what did Dan Sickles have, or did the president owe him to make that happen? I mean, that's a story upon itself because, you know, let's face it. This is a case where a guy murdered somebody in the streets, shot somebody there. Witnesses saw it. I mean, this is incredible. I never heard of it before, where you have somebody of all things uses, you know, temporary insanity as an excuse. This is quite historic. I never heard of this guy before.
Being the first of probably not that many temporary insanity pleas. Now, this is all kind of a weird event and something you don't hear about every day. But really, this is all that history would remember Dan Sickles for, and he probably would have been mostly forgotten to this day if it was not for a minor conflict that began in 1861. Upon the beginning of the American Civil War, states were required to raise troops for the defense of the Union and to tame the South. And oftentimes the way that this was done is a fairly influential person, such as maybe a previous congressman or state senator, would go around and he would recruit troops under his banner, and then he would get an automatic military commendation. In doing this, Dan Sickles became a corps commander in the Army of the Potomac. No, he had not done anything in the military previously. Yes, this is how they used to work. And as
so very similar to like the Roman senators back in antiquity. All you had to do was be a senator, raise an army, and hey, congratulations, you're a general. If it would be that easy, right? Anyways, looks like good old Danny Boy seemed to have figured out some sort of recipe. Let's find out where he leads his fantastic brigade.
As you would expect, there are quite a few interesting
Corps.
stories from him throughout the American Civil War, being such a unique person as he was. But the biggest one, and the one he is most remembered for, happens at the Battle of Gettysburg. Now, one thing that's often not remembered about the Union Army during the war, or has kind of been forgotten as time has passed, is the great amount of politics involved in the command of the Army of the Potomac. Everyone in the Union Army knew each other.
Now, this is something I'm aware of because politics played a key role with the Union commanders, people who they were related to, people who they knew in Washington, D.C., which explains why the Union forces were easily smacked around by the Confederate forces in the early stages of the American Civil War. You had a lot of guys who just didn't know what they were doing, and it cost the lives of soldiers in the ranks, enlisted men.
All the high-ranking officers, whether they had previously been in the military and served before and knew each other from that, or if they were in Sickles' position, had previously been politicians or other men of influence, knew each other from before the war that way. And Sickles, along with many other Union commanders and kind of a clique, was very good friends with a certain General Hooker. Hooker was the general of the Army of the Potomac before George Gordon Meade took over, literally right before the Battle of Gettysburg, and they were very close. So when Hooker was forced out, he did not take to Meade too kindly. In fact, you could pretty much say he was trying to undermine him from day one. And one of the ways he tried to do this in the most dramatic fashion was with his actions on July 2nd.
What the fuck is that?
Sickles' Corps was positioned on the southern end of the Union line, roughly here on the map. And he was told by George Meade to straddle these hills and take up this position, and he was told to be here. And for lots of reasons that historians still debate about to this day, Sickles decided to move his troops up to here. Now, it's really unclear whether he misunderstood Meade's orders, was trying to do this just to be a dick, or if he thought that the position that he was at was not really that suitable and thought he would move forward to better align him.
That is a dick move on his part because, let's face it, the Battle of Gettysburg was a key moment in the American Civil War that would determine who would win. Now, of course, we have to mention Vicksburg because Vicksburg also played a pivotal role in dividing the Confederacy, in which the Union forces won the Battle of Vicksburg before Gettysburg. But anyways, neither here nor there. But the fact that this guy Dan Sickles did a move like that, I never heard of this before. What an asshole! Because that was the one time you don't disobey your commanding officers. Now, again, I'm going to hit play and find out what's the rest of the story is, but already, Danny Boy, part of me kind of likes you, but right now, with this kind of decision that you made, what the fuck were you doing?
Himself because Meade wasn't there and wasn't seeing the terrain. Either way, he essentially created a gigantic hole in the Union line that when Meade was informed about this, immediately sent multiple runners to tell him to move back up the hill and take the position he told him to.
Oh,
when he
God.
did, Sickles basically sent back a bunch of nonsense replies, kind of dancing around the issue in hilarious fashion. Meade eventually got so fed up with the song and dance that he himself went to Sickles and told him, "No, your men are supposed to be there," clearly pointing out on the field where his men were supposed to be and asking him, very annoyed, why he had moved his men forward. And in a situation that you just can't make up, apparently right as Meade was pointing to the position that Sickles was supposed to be in, the first Confederate cannon blast of Longstreet's attack rang out over the hills. Meade quickly jumped on his horse and I assume said something like, "You better not fuck this up," and rode off to go plug the hole in the Union line. Although it would be great to say Sickles saw something on the field that Meade didn't, and his move turned out to be a stroke of genius, it was not. His corps was completely chewed up.
Large.
All right. I know we're kind of laughing at this guy for being an idiot, but his stupidity killed the lives of infantrymen. And I know, of course, we're going to see Trump voiceover, but I mean, I guess maybe it is apropos for us to say that maybe Trump is Dan Sickles reincarnated. But again, you just don't do that, and I hope Meade really did ride off into the sunset while he had to unfuck what Dan Sickles said and said, don't fuck this up. Because, what an asshole!
Brain.
Sickles himself lost a leg when it was crushed by a cannonball while
Good.
he was riding his horse, and his entire command suffered heavy casualties. In fact, reserves were only just able to be brought up behind his shattered corps before they retreated to make sure that the Confederates didn't just overrun the Union line. Dan Sickles did survive the war, though. In fact, his leg is currently in the Smithsonian Museum.
Oh my God. Are we being serious here? This is a joke, right? Okay, I got a whole bunch of no's from the team.
And it
Okay.
was actually put there while he was still alive. Apparently, when the exhibit opened, he was being taken around, and the entire time he wouldn't shut up about he wanted the tour group to go see his leg. Upon seeing his leg, he was very upset that his foot was not part of the femur bone that was in the exhibit, because of course he was. Now, this is a very brief overview of all things to do with Dan Sickles, and I only really went into 2 stories, and you can go into them deeper. Civil War historians have actually really debated Sickles' motivations.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Brief history on Dan Sickles. Well, on the one hand, yes, we can laugh at him because we are alive now at this point in time in history, and we say, oh, this guy was an idiot. But back then, I'm pretty sure that there are plenty of people, especially the family members, relatives, and friends of the soldiers that were part of his corps that got massacred because of his indecisive action and his inability to understand that, hey, when a commanding general gives you an order, you need to follow it. But he lives on in the Smithsonian Museum with his fucked up leg and the cannonball that's right there that rightfully took it away from him. I am curious now, after this, to check out the full history of Dan Sickles. But in my opinion, Dan Sickles, you are not very, very smart. You're not a smart guy. Yes, you shot somebody in the street and you didn't go to jail, but Dan Sickles, you are an asshole, in my opinion. Hope you all enjoyed this reaction video. And I'm looking forward to further adventures with all of you. Take care.